Tippy time, my damies, Topcat here and welcome back to the channel. With stasis changes coming down the pipeline, I've been revisiting my stasis builds of days past with the hopes of updating them. Every warlock has an Osmiomancy double turret build. Now I can't rightly badmouth those builds, they're after all stupidly strong, but I did want to try and convince you to take a better look at the Ballidorse Wrathweavers. With this video, I hope to show you its damage potential and a few techniques. If you find this video at all helpful, make sure to smash that thumbs. With that said, what do these exotics do? And how can we maximize them? They have two main functions, one buffs you and the other is intended for your fire team. The armor perk is Hearts of Ice. Your Winter's Wrath Shockwave deals increased shattered damage. Now it doesn't actually say this in the description, but it actually does double damage of the shockwave itself. However, the shockwave can't actually kill them, but it will leave them one shot. We will be using the Whisper of Fish's Fragment. This increases both the size and damage of the burst of a frozen target or crystal. This won't really buff our super directly by all that much, only increasing the damage on our target by 1.8%, but it will do substantially more damage via AoE to targets in close proximity. It's also important to note that our super has two different damage scalars, one for taking on mages and the other for bosses. Prior to these exotics, it was a common complaint amongst the community that this air clear super couldn't in fact do that in anything above moderately difficult content. Without the Wrathweavers, our super does 87,000 against mages per attack. Our super lasts roughly 13 seconds and we can get off 5 attacks in that time frame, for a total major damage value of 435,000. But with the Wrathweavers, our damage against mages jumps up to 183,000 per attack, for a total of 915,000. That's a 2.1 times modifier, making Clear that much more potent. And it is now surprisingly awesome at clearing out champs in GM level content. Against bosses, our standard super does 46,000 per attack, for a puny total of 231,000. But with the Wrathweavers, it jumps to 81,000 per attack, with a total of 405,000. This is a 1.8 times modifier. This brings it in line with our other Warlock supers. Almost all Warlock supers sit between low 400k to high 400k, with the Chaos Reach pushing slightly above and the Nova falling massively below. The Wrathweavers also grant our fire team both protection and a damage buff. Allies in range of our shockwave gave an overshield for 15 seconds, and this overshield activation will also increase stasis weapon damage for that same 15-second period. Now it's rumored in season 23 that we have a stasis heavy artifact in the loot, so this exotic could be pretty big next season. Because activities tend to have two elemental surges of late, it's been strand, and more strand. Stasis weapons haven't fared all too well in this regards. However, activities still do have a weapon surge on a week by week basis, so these can still feel strong. This weapon surge is unique in that it stacks above our armor surges and ability surges. When these gauntlets were made available originally, a lot of us didn't think it could stack with WoW. It does, however, stack with the WoW, just not for the person to whom cast it. It gives us an additional 15% weapon bonus to our stasis weapons. Now this could seem a little too niche, trying to convince an entire raid team to use something like the Cold Comfort mightn't go over too well. It is a good ultra sweat move for great raid teams, but for your average LFG team, just stick to your needles or well. However, it's in Nightfalls and Grandmasters that our stasis warlock really shines anyway. You could pop to buff people in a well to stack those modifiers, but I'm actually partial to pop it just after a well or before the well to keep your team nice and safe during those times where you don't have that protection already. Now it states that this buff applies to our allies, but if you pulse it in that last second of your super bar, you can also give this bonus to yourself. It's in that last segment where, like halfway on the grenade bar, just start spamming pulse and you can activate it on yourself. Now I am fairly certain this is a glitch, but it is still here 7 months later since its release. Probably because it's not been all that popular of an exotic until late. Once it does gain more popularity and notoriety, perhaps this might be changed, but until then, make hay while the sun shines. Now, just because we're not running the Osmios does not mean we can't run turrets. Durance will help extend slowing, creating more freezes, and extending our turret's lifespan from 25 seconds to 30 seconds. And through Whisperer Torment and some other mods, I can have a turret back in as little as 13 seconds anyway, so we're not really missing out on those Osmios all that much anyway. All this was filmed at GM level. The Europa Battleground is stacked with mages and bosses, and the Wrathweavers really impressed me. Outside of the Osmiomancies and Eye of Another Worlds, are there any other combos that you like on your Shamebinder kit? Let me know in the comments down below. I've left a dim link for my build in the description below. Make sure to thumb it if you liked it, and until next time, tippy tie my damies, what a tie.